Oh, that sounds really nice, doesn't it? Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here. I am here today with the newly released Donner DEP-16. Now, Donner has released some really nice pianos in the past, and that's why I'm reviewing this one today. It's very similar to the DEP-20 that I reviewed a while back, but it also has some additional features that the 20 did not have, such as Bluetooth audio, Bluetooth MIDI, that kind of thing. So, let's dig in, because this is what I would consider the perfect beginner piano. Now, this goes for like $399 US usually. And you can almost always get this on the Donner website for about $349. But I just checked the prices now, and because it's the holidays, you can get this for as little as $259. Now, an 88-key, fully weighted beginner piano like this for $259, that is a bargain. Now, let me go into everything it has, and I think you'll agree with me at the end that this really is a bargain. Now, if you want to get this just for playing piano and nothing else, this is actually the perfect beginner piano. But if you want to do more, and this has a whole bunch of other sounds in there, 260 actually, and if you want to get to those, you can get to those. It just won't be as easy as one of the more expensive pianos, but you can get to them. Now, if you want to get this just for playing piano, this is actually perfect for a beginner if you just want to play piano. Now, it has 260 other sounds. Getting to it may not be as convenient as a higher priced piano, but you can definitely get to it. So for a beginner piano at this price, no problem. Now, let's dig in and explore. Now, as I mentioned, there's 88 fully weighted keys. Now, there's 128 note polyphony, which is respectable, especially at this price point, because a lot of other pianos at this price point are half that at 64 note polyphony. Let me explain polyphony real quick for you so you understand what you're getting into here. 128 note polyphony, that's respectable. So, if I play a note, this is a stereo sample, so you're hearing the note on the left side and the right side. That's 2 notes of polyphony right there. If I hold the pedal down while I play, that's 3 notes of polyphony, because the pedal also counts as 1 note of polyphony. Now, let's say I play a chord, 4 fingers, that's 8 notes of polyphony. And another 4 fingers down here, another 8 notes. That's 16 notes of polyphony right there, plus the pedal, that's 17. Now, here's 16 right here. Do another 16, that's 32, 48, 64, 80. All right, while I'm holding the pedal down, it is producing all those notes I just played. So I can produce up to 128 notes of polyphony that way. And if I go beyond that, what it does is it steals notes from the first held notes that I played. It turns those off to make room for the new notes. And if you understand what I'm saying so far, you're never going to run out of notes for polyphony on this piano. 128 notes, perfect. Now, the specs on this and on the Donner website and in the manual say that there's 238 different sounds here. Well, that kind of is a misprint, because I found there's actually 260 sounds here. Actually, there is a sound list that they print right here. Here is the first 243 sounds right here. And it's listed right here. And this is from the Donner manual. And up here, there's more all the way up to 259. So you have notes, you have sounds 0 through 259. That makes a total of 260 different sounds. How cool is that? 260 sounds at your fingertips. I'll go more into detail on this as the video progresses, but for now, know that there's 260 different sounds, not 238 like they advertise in their literature. So that is a plus. That's one mistake I love finding, when they give you something that's less than it actually is, and it turns out to be more. Love it. There's also 200 rhythms built in, which is also cool because you can go ahead and choose a rhythm and use that as accompaniment to play along with it. If you're a beginner pianist, you know, these piano teachers tell you to play along with a metronome, that boring tick, 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 tick. But when you have rhythms, it adds a lot more depth to that than just the regular tick, tick, tick. And you can really get into it and have fun with it. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video as well. And there's also 100 different demos built in. So you can hear what this keyboard can accomplish with 100 different demos. How cool is that? Now, there's also 2 speakers built in. Each speaker can handle 15 watts of power, so you're cool right there. And as far as it weighs, this is the cool part right here. It weighs 24.2 pounds or 11 kilograms. That is so cool. I can carry this under one arm. So, as a professional pianist, and I have digital pianos that I jam with that cost thousands of dollars, this can act as a backup for me. So I always have this in the car available to me wherever I go in case one of my pro pianos has a problem. I can bring this. And I mentioned that it already has Bluetooth, MIDI, and audio. And as far as the dimensions go, you've got a length of 51.1 inches, and you've got a depth of 10.2 inches, and a height of 4.5 inches. And that is really cool because this size is perfect for fitting in the back seat of many of the cars out there today. So if you have a smaller car out there, this should be no problem. Now, one of the most important things out there is the connections and the I/O. So let's go over the back panel first so that you can know what you're getting into. Okay, so you have a USB-A, which is used for the MP3 player portion of this keyboard. And yes, you have MP3 controls here for that. You can go to the next song, you can go backwards, and so on and so forth. Very, very, very cool. Then there's a USB-B connection, and that's the one that you use to connect to your computer so that you can use it with a DAW or any other VST or music software that you will control with this keyboard. Then they have a proprietary pedal connection, and that is for their triple pedal, which is not included unless you get the version of this with the furniture stand. If you get that version, which is, not that much more, you have a nice furniture stand. It makes a nice furniture piece in the living room, but it also adds that triple pedal, which you don't really get if you're using this as a standalone slab like I'm using it right here, and like I would be using it for a band. And if I'm using it with a band, all I need is my sustain pedal, and it comes with a sustain pedal. And let me show you. This is not the typical cheap plastic switch that comes with many keyboards, including Roland, Casio. They just give you this cheap plastic switch. This is more of a professional looking piano pedal. And press down, lift up, does the job for a sustain pedal, and it is really nice. Now, here's the difference. The majority of keyboards out there use a pedal like this, which you can buy at Sam Ash or Guitar Center, Sweetwater, whatever, but they all come with a 1/4-inch connection. This one is an 1/8 inch connection. In fact, all the connections on the back here are 1/8 inch. So that saves them money, but this pedal is specific for that, and it comes with an 1/8 inch plug to plug into there. So if you wanted to use your own pedal will require that 1/4-inch jack to 1/8 inch conversion, so you'll need an adapter jack for that. It also has a 1/8 inch input and an 1/8 inch mic input. Now that 1/8 inch input is for something like your iPhone or whatever, and the 1/8 inch mic is for a microphone. There's also the DC input from the supplied AC adapter. And as far as outputs, it has a 1/8 inch audio out, stereo of course, and you're going to need a converter cable to convert that to 2 left and right 1/4-inch plugs, so that way it's compatible with just about any other keyboard on the market. And if you're going to use this on a gig where you're going to plug this into the front of house, or just a PA where they're expecting just one input, you're going to go with a mono input. And the way to do that is you're going to need another kind of converter, 1/8 inch stereo to 1/4-inch mono. And I'll throw in a couple of links so that you can see what those cables are like, and you can get that for yourself on Amazon. Now, let's go through the front panel, and you can see there's 2 speakers up here on top. I don't want to hear the speakers, and I don't hear the speakers because I have taken a dummy 1/8 inch plug right here, and I plugged that into the headphone jack, which automatically shuts off the speakers here. And there are 2 1/8 inch jacks, so that basically you can have a student and teacher each with their own headphones if it's at night and you don't want to bother anybody. Otherwise, you can just use the built-in speakers. And right now what you're hearing is the 1/8 inch stereo output, and I've got that converted to 2 1/4-inch monos, and I'm feeding that into my recorder, QSC TouchMix 30 Pro. So what you're hearing is directly recorded from the output here. So now let's go through the front panel and see what everything does. You'll notice the first thing here, it's a knob, and this is no ordinary knob. Now, if you look at the knob and you look at the spelling underneath that, it starts with a V, the third letter is an L. You automatically assume that this is volume. If you take a closer look, it says value. It's not volume, it's value. So this is basically not a volume knob, it's a value knob. And it's basically an encoder, which means unlike a volume knob, where if you turn it to the left, it's going to stop as low as you can go, and you turn it to the right, it's going to stop with maximum volume. This is not the same as that. This you can keep turning forever, and that's because it is a value knob. And other manufacturers might put in a jog wheel to do the same thing, but since this looks like a volume control, you need to take specific notice of that because it's really not. So if you want to control the volume, you can't just turn this and expect to control the volume. You need to, there is a volume switch here. So when you turn the volume switch, then you can control the volume. And if you take too long doing that, the volume part turns off and it becomes the sound selector switch. So Let's show you. Here's volume. See, the volume turned off, and now I'm selecting different sounds. So you have to keep that in mind. Then there is the power switch, self-explanatory, power on, power off. We just went through the volume. Now there is a sound switch. So when this is lit up, this knob right here chooses the sounds for you. So right now we are on voice 0, which is grand piano. And if I go to the next one, we have a bright piano. You can hear the difference right away. And if we go to the next one, we've got an electric grand piano. All right, let's just, for right now, go back to the grand piano. Next to that, you have record and playback. Now, this is really cool. So watch this. And I went through this manual, which is almost worthless. You have to figure things out on your own. So I'm going to make life easy for you right now. If you're going to plan on recording and playing back, which is ideal for a beginner pianist, where you record your left hand, and when you play it back, you can add your right hand, or vice versa. So let's show you how to do that. We have the sound key right here, and above that is a label called demo. There's a shift key right here. So whatever button you press, you get the value that's written below the button. If you press shift and press the button, you get the value that's written above that button. Okay, so we're going to hit shift plus demo. It's blinking. We're going to hit shift plus sync. They're both blinking now. Then we're going to hit shift plus record. Hit shift plus record again to end it. Playback. Okay, so you can see that while I played that back, I'm adding stuff to it. Okay, now, if we just press sound, which is going to be a steady indicator light right here, it's not flashing or anything, this is where you change your sounds. Okay, and when you turn this encoder now, you're changing sounds. And as you'll notice over here, you can see the sounds are changing. Here's a glockenspiel. And here's an excerpt from the manual right here. This shows you the different sounds that you can choose from. There's actually 260, and again, 260, not the 238 that the manual or the website says. There's actually 260. Now, if I go to, say, sound 6, which is a harpsichord, you might recognize this song right here. Okay, very cool. And if I go to number 16 and a few above those, these are organ sounds here. That's a Hammond organ. And you might recognize that. This is an acoustic guitar. Very nice. You might recognize that song. And if we go to 32, which is an acoustic bass. And if you go up to 40, which is a violin, that's a fun song too. And if we go up to 46, orchestral string harp. Very nice. And we'll go up two more to 48, which is a string ensemble. See if you recognize this. And let's go up to 53. And this is voice ooze. You've got people or choir singing ooze. You can get really creative with that. And I believe there's also ahs as well as ooze, so you can get creative with that as well. And let's go up to 61 of the horns, the brass section. Might recognize that. And let's go up to 73. And this is a flute. So you might recognize that. All right, let's go up to 105. Banjo. I recognize that. All right, so let's go up to 122 through 127. This is the general MIDI sound set for special effects. I'm going to start out with 122, which is seashore. You can hear a seashore there. If we go up, this is a bird tweet. And the higher you go up, the higher the pitch. The lower you go down, the lower the pitch. And we'll go one more. This is a telephone. Let's go higher up. Maybe up here. That sounds more realistic. Okay. One more, we got a helicopter. Cool stuff. Applause. And gunshot. And now we're back into General MIDI 2. Starts all over again with the pianos and stuff. So let's keep going. That was a quick, really quick demo of what the sounds are on here. Now they also have a chord button, which I find to be totally useless. Press chord, and what do you get? You press a note, you get, and it doesn't make sense which notes you're getting in the chord. It doesn't really, it only goes up to here. Then you don't have chords, but below this, so as far as I'm concerned, this is a wasted button right here. But you do have it there, so just so that you know, and maybe you can find a use for it, but I certainly do not. The shift key I've already went through. Anything that has writing above the keys, that's what the shift key will do. If it's below, you don't need the shift key. It's going to implement the function that's written below that button. So you have a piano here. And you have layer and split. So if I just hit it until it lights up, you've got split. So down here is the piano. Up here is whatever you're layering it with. Happens to be violin. You can go ahead and adjust that and make this anything you want. Here's strings. Here's a string synth. Very cool. Now, similar to split, I can go ahead and hit shift, split, and I get layer, which is up on top. So the two that I just had, piano and the synth voice, now they're together. Okay, And let's just turn it off altogether so we just have piano. Now, whatever you're experimenting with, let's just say you've gotten all the way up to whatever sound you're at. You want to go back to piano. Very simple. You don't have to go ahead and turn this control. Go ahead and just hit sound twice, and you're back with the grand piano, which is the default sound here. Then, of course, you have metronome, and you can change the tempo and all that kind of stuff. Pretty boring, but rhythm is much more useful. So while we're here, let's actually go to rhythm. And here's the styles here. So you go ahead and pick a style, and you hit play. Much more interesting than just playing with a boring old metronome. And while you're on style, this knob over here changes the styles. And you can see over here what the styles are. And as I mentioned, there is something like 200 different styles. Those are rhythms. Let me just double check that real quick. Yeah. 200 different rhythms. This one you're hearing right now is a blues swing 1. Here's a jazz 5. And again, you can always change the tempo on all of these to match whatever you're going to be playing with. So this is really cool, especially with 200 different styles. Very cool stuff. Then you have a couple other buttons here. This is an effects button, and all it does is turn reverb on or off. Right now, this is not lit, so this is what the piano sounds like. And if I turn it on, you can notice a big difference here is a built-in reverb, ambience, whatever you want to call it. Now, without using the pedal or anything like that, let's turn this off again and let's just do something simple. Turn it on. Hear a big difference, right? That's with and without. Okay, and the next one is touch, and this is a simple on-off thing. So with touch off, you're going to get the same volume no matter how hard or how light you press the keys. And let's turn it on and let's do the same thing. And the rest of the buttons are basically for MP3 players. So I basically gone ahead and showed you pretty much everything this keyboard does, which is very, very, very impressive. So check it out further. Go to DonnerDeals.com, their website over there, and you can pick one of these up for, at least as of this video, $259. That is a steal for something like this. 88 keys, fully weighted, all the features I just showed you. It is out of this world. I recommend this highly for somebody who is just getting started. This is perfect. And Of course, if you want more sounds and more professional sounds, all you got to do is get a MIDI cable, or basically a USB cable, hook it up from here to your computer, and then you can go ahead and get VSTs or other plugins for sounds, and you could be playing Steinways and all these other high class, high definition pianos using this just as a controller. So, I hope you learned a lot from this. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching. Check the links for some certain descriptions of them.